Alright, just sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
By the way, Wemby already has one block.
I heard someone say he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year this year.
He's 7'9" with a wingspan of 16 feet. He just has to. He's like those blow-up things outside the car dealerships. He just goes like this.
He can sit on a bench and just knock it.
Exactly.
Look at the little Tula. She's talking to the producer. Talking to a cat. And a mommy in a jumpsuit.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, October the 25th, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hi, everyone. What's
Greetings.
going on?
How is everybody?
Greetings.
We have to apologize for those of you watching on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. The delay in the audio was we had to put Facebook on the feed because apparently StreamYard and Facebook were not playing well with each other. Facebook wasn't allowing scheduling the podcast, so we couldn't post it to any other groups tonight. So is what it is. So apologies for the others and for everybody. But we're starting the show now. Here we are, minute and 40 in. How is everybody on this?
Nothing.
I'm taking back everything nice that I ever said about Zuckerberg.
There you go.
FaceYard, Streambook,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Twitch,
pretty much.
Twatty.
Twitchel twat.
Is there
Twatty.
an app called Twiddle?
There should be. And there's not even an app called Twitter anymore. It's X now.
Yeah,
that's right.
I've never been on it, never will, because it's probably going to be gone here in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
any like self-respecting person probably shouldn't be on it right now because it's just, it's becoming more and more of a haven for extremists.
Yes.
Yeah. We've been on it since before that. So, and we air the show live on it. So that's why I say Twitter still. I don't say X. I say Twitter. Call me silly.
You think anybody? How many people do we reach on Twitter?
Twitter actually has the least amount of viewers. We're gaining more and more viewership on Twitch. We've only been broadcasting to Twitch for about 4 shows now.
I don't even know what that is.
3 or 4 shows. Yeah. But the most is Facebook rewatches, not live. YouTube's the most live. So.
There's a new app called Glitch where you can turn any of your video moments into a Mitch McConnell moment.
All of these apps together are Glitch. Actually, our podcast should be called Glitch, but that's besides.
That was a good joke, John.
I think Mitch on Twitch.
Glitch McConnell.
Mitch on Twitch should be
Glitch McConnell.
Mitch on Twitch with a glitch.
It's actually a plug-in for Zoom meetings where you can just pretend you're having a Mitch McConnell moment when you're actually just really left the meeting. Yeah.
Just stop in the middle of the summary of the sales proposal.
There you go.
Pete, what do you think about that?
But you have to talk before you do it. Information. I think that moving forward into 2024,
that's pretty good. That was like a combination Mitch McConnell and I'm not sure who else was in there.
Well, it's kind of
Foghorn Leghorn, maybe a little Foghorn.
I think it was a little Foghorn Leghorn in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I should have thrown more of Cease the Turtle into it, but
right.
I'll work on it.
Good Foghorn Leghorn, Mitch McConnell combo, though. I mean, that's Foghorn McConnell.
Foghorn is my go-to.
Mitch Leghorn.
It's Foghorn Friday on Twitch. All
right,
what do we talk about here? What's going on?
It's a beer podcast, right?
Let's talk about basketball first because
basketball.
Yeah, it just started, and I know that there's a team which is near and dear to at least one of us.
Only one.
Who won a championship last year for the first time ever.
Yes.
I can't remember the name of the team, but
that's right. Mississippi Mud Hens.
That's the
look. The banner was raised in Denver. The TNT TBS crew was here. broadcasting live from the Aurora campus. The LeBron James and Anthony Davis kept receipts from last year, and we decided to not accept their return. So there you go.
Sorry, you did not read our fine print of our return policy.
That's right. Yeah, you must score more. You must score more points than us. Right. Look, I mean, good start. It's one game. You're right. The NBA season, the early part of the NBA season is like any season. But what I like is I saw that the Nuggets came out with the same intensity and just incredible ball movement. And they played really good defense in the fourth quarter. So makes me happy. Look, we don't have much here in Denver. We have the Nuggets, the Rockies, which have been perennially horrible since 2000, 8 was it that they went 2007 when they went to the World Series.
2007, yeah.
Broncos a long-standing team, which I actually went to my first Broncos game in a while this week, who are also not very good. Mm-hmm. And we have the Avalanche, but those are for white Republicans to go watch skate around the ice. So for the rest of us, here we are. Let's celebrate it while we have it, because I'm sure there's another super team being formulated right now behind closed doors. I'm sure Giannis Antetokounmpo, and as wonderful as he is planning on getting yet another All-Star to join the Milwaukee Bucks. So we'll see.
Oh, and you get Phoenix there.
Right. I think they just signed John Havlicek. So we'll see what happens. By the way, one thing that really makes me happy is how horrible the Golden State Warriors look with Chris Paul as their point guard. So that's my NBA summary. Off to you, John.
Yeah, and that's really all we need to do.
I can't really say much. I can't really add much more to that. I mean, it was kudos to the Nuggets. We said that obviously when they won back in June, but and kudos to them, throwing the receipts right back at LeBron and AD's face.
I think I may actually become something of a little bit more of a Nuggets fan this season. We'll see how it goes. I mean, after listening to you piss and moan, and rightfully so, about how they didn't get the coverage that they deserved and how they were being largely ignored by the media, or sort of an after story. After we get to what LeBron, how he tied his shoes this week, and
right. Well, and LeBron specifically pissed on their championship, their Western Conference championship, by teasing that he was going to retire, and that became the top story the next day.
Right.
Now, I can't say he did that on purpose, but I think he did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, my point is, I feel for you now, having the perspective that comes with a little bit of time, and Nuggets might be my Western team.
There you go. You heard it right. You heard it right.
You heard it here, folks. All right. Well, speaking of out west, basically, with Texas and Arizona both being west, let's switch it up to a little MLB and talk about the World Series that is now decided. Rangers and Diamondbacks. Who'd have thunk it? It's Rob Manfred's second worst nightmare. His first worst.
No, I think if you polled Major League Baseball executives back in, say, March or April,
mm-hmm.
and you said, here's what we want to do for the World Series. We want, let's say, like the number 4 or 5 team in the American League.
And the number 12
team. Play like the 6th best, or let's call it a team that's tied for 5th in the National League. We'd like them to play in the World Series.
Right.
Because no one will expect that.
No.
Everybody will want to watch.
And look, kudos to Texas, because I think a lot of people thought that they would be well improved this year. This is their second full season of investing in that team. You can't say they have not invested in it.
Right.
Yeah, no, they have been going for it, and they've been getting there too.
And look, again, what baseball always comes down to, it's the role players who stepped up, and their role players outplayed a very deep, very talented, very experienced Houston Astros team. So on that side, Texas isn't that surprising to me. What was
listen, they were the division leader for a good portion of the season,
and they had the same record as the Astros.
They finished the division.
and
they
went
finished
into
the season tied. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they went into the last. I think it was the last weekend of the season, and the Astros won it, and they ended up winning the division.
Look, and I had the Astros winning the American League. And they were one game away from it, and they probably blew 2 games that they shouldn't have. Same thing with the Phillies on the other side. So it's not that far off. Now, the Diamondbacks, I'm not even sure they deserve to be in the playoffs, but kudos to them. I mean, this is a Cinderella story.
Well, they wouldn't have been if they didn't have 17 wild card teams, right? So
right. And we've gone through this before. We all agree that the setup with the wild card teams, it puts the better teams at a disadvantage. The wild card teams are playing right up. There's no break in their intensity of play. In fact, they probably start playoff baseball before the playoffs even start because of the nature of having to get into the wild card games. Yep. And, look, I mean, I'm sure the people in Phoenix, the greater Phoenix area are very happy about this. And the Phillies just shit the bed. The Phillies were much more talented. The Phillies were the Texas Rangers of the National League. Look, you had the top teams. You had the Astros in the American League. You could talk about the power of the American League East, but I never had faith in the Orioles, and I never really thought that Toronto or Tampa were better than the Astros. I thought Tampa would have gone farther. Anyway, so I always thought the Astros were the team to beat, just based on the fact that they're built for the playoffs. So you got to give kudos to Texas. In the National League, I mean, there was 3 teams, at least 2, maybe 3 ahead of the Phillies, where you just were surprised that they were just gone in Atlanta and the Dodgers.
It's 2 years in a row this has happened, though.
Right.
I mean, the Braves and the Dodgers, and last year the Mets were the 3rd team over 100. I mean, gone in the first and or second round.
I mean, there's nobody in baseball, a casual fan or the deepest expert, who could argue that the Phillies going into the playoffs were a better team than the Braves.
Right.
I don't think there's a better team in baseball than the Braves. So the fact that they went out as easily as they did, and the fact that the Dodgers also imploded, and the Phillies, let's face it, they played good ball up until the fact that they blew 2 games leading up to Game 6, which they won, right? And Game 7, whatever it was, against the Diamondbacks. The Phillies should have won that series. They blew it.
Well,
but
I could be mistaken.
Kudos to the Diamondbacks.
But I'm pretty sure I saw something around the fact that the top 4 hitters in the Phillies lineup over the course of the last 2 games, Game 6 and Game 7, went 1 for 28 or something.
And they were phenomenal before that.
Schwarber, Turner, and Harper 1 for 20 in Game 6 and 7.
But you can't. Yeah, Turner hit like 465 though. So I mean, yeah.
No. But I'm saying in those 2 crucial games, those guys did nothing. And the Phillies, as I look at the Phillies, I don't know if I posted this before, but I was thinking this earlier. They're kind of, to me, they're like the epitome of what's wrong with baseball. And the way their team is made up. They got a couple of great pitchers at the top, right? You got a great 1 and 2. You got a really good bullpen.
They're the Yankees with a better GM.
Right. And you hit a lot of home runs, right? The Braves hit the most home runs in baseball. It was either the last month or the last 2 months. The Phillies hit just as many home runs as the Braves did. And then we see the chink in the armor, which is you have a little power outage. Now, 1 for 20 from those 3 guys is a big power outage.
Well, you can't manufacture runs.
You can't manufacture
and that's where Turner was supposed to be there. And look,
but that's it. That switch went off, and those home runs disappeared, and the offense. It was like when the Yankees lose Judge, just the offense just dies.
I don't want the Yankees in the playoffs.
They're the epitome of what is wrong with the way baseball is built now,
and I was
the home
watching
run has been idolized.
And I was watching that 9th inning on my phone. Schwarber's on deck, and I'm just like, is there any chance that with a pinch hitter with 1 out to go, can they just put him on base to give Schwarber a chance to tie this game? And they couldn't. So the bottom of the Phillies lineup, you could talk about how the top of the lineup, their best hitters, did not perform well in the last couple games. but the bottom of the lineup was spotty. And if you look, so you might have somebody hitting 465 and 295, but then everybody else was hitting 212 or 180 or 100. Whereas if you look at the Rangers and you look at the Diamondbacks, everybody's hitting 245, or 262, or there's nobody. But the thing everybody contributed.
Right.
The thing about the Phillies though is anyone in that lineup can park it. Right?
Oh, with
varying degrees.
They did.
Yeah, and they did. But again,
until they didn't.
When they go cold, though, they go cold.
Yeah,
you get 12 or 1. There's nothing in between.
Right.
And that's where a team like the Astros consistently have been able to put enough runs on to win games, and they came up short.
Mm-hmm. They would have been better off not having home field advantage.
Yeah.
Well, nobody lost. Nobody in that series
really.
Game.
They lost every game at home.
So did Texas.
Yeah.
Not one home team. Yeah, I know what you're saying. We're saying the same thing. You're saying it more cleverly.
If the 4 of the 3,
you're saying it more cleverly. I get it.
We might have a different.
It's crazy.
Team going, but
crazy fun fact here. Weird fact here. The Phillies have been around since 1883. All right. The team is 140 years old. All right. In all of the postseasons they've ever been in, last night was the first Game 7 they ever played in a postseason series.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Insane. 140 years, all the postseasons. Last night was the first.
How many World Series have the Phillies won? Is it just one?
No. They won in 80 or 81. They won. Right? Yeah.
Okay. And then
back in the 20s and 30. Yeah.
But as the Philadelphia Phillies.
They've always been the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay.
They've always been the Phillies.
All right. So post 1960, how many World Series have they won? It's 2. Less than 3, right?
2.
Yeah. Okay. So
they have won.
They've made it there. I know they've been there a bunch of times, but.
No, I'm sorry. I take that back. They've only won 2 World Series.
Yeah.
1980 and 2008. That's it.
Yeah. See? Mm-hmm. So I mean, this is a team that
they have won 8 pennants.
Right. But still, think about that. 8 pennants. So we think of the Phillies. I think of them, and I remember, the recent success that they've had. Obviously, getting to the World Series. What was it, last year? You think about the 80s with Mike Schmidt and those great teams, and then you think earlier even into the 70s with Carlton with Steve Carlton and the great pitching of that. 2 World Series, 8 pennants. That's not a lot considering how long they've been around.
No, the Mets have been around for much less than half that, and they've won 2 World Series and 5 pennants.
Right. That's my point.
Yeah, well, plus consider the Phillies, 1 World Series was the old way, right? As far as the playoffs went.
Right.
And then 1 was the new way where you have to win more games and all that.
Right.
So, I don't know which. I mean, we know which is better,
right?
But which is harder?
Well,
you just got to win 8 games the old way, but you only get 8. You know what I mean? You
don't even need to win 8 games. You need to win 7 games the old way,
right?
Because it was 3 and 4, best of 5, best of 7. But here's my point.
So that's right. Was it ever 7 and 7?
Might have been, but for the most part, and I know in the 70s and 80s it was 3. It was the best of 5 for the pennant.
Right, so it was 7. So you only had to win 7, but you didn't have as many chances to lose.
You guys, saw me texting how much what I hate about baseball more than any other sport, maybe hockey excluded, is that the regular season means nothing now, and it used to mean so much. So you had 4 teams out of how many teams were there back in the 70s and 80s? 24, 26?
21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 24.
24. So 4 out of 24 went to the playoffs every year. So it meant a lot. Now, the other part of that was, you only had to win 7 games. But think about the pressure of winning under those games. And when you see guys who are still on the list for most home runs in postseason play, or most X in postseason play, or most wins in postseason play, and they only, if they were lucky,
26
got to play at the most in 12 games in the postseason.
Right.
So that's to me. I'm not saying we should go back to that, but
It never happened anyway. It's all about money. So
right, and there's only the American League, National League. There were four divisions.
it was East and West and both.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah,
It was 20. It was 26. The 4 expansion teams.
26. Yeah.
The Rays, the Marlins, the Diamondbacks, and the Rockies.
Right. So 4 out of 26 teams. So it was harder. And then think about the teams that were perennially there then. You know, the Reds and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Phillies for a brief period of time there, and the Dodgers, and the list goes on. I mean, what you had is these rivalries that were around for many times a childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're coming into baseball at the right time and you're 10, 11 years old and you're really catching on to it, you could see Steve Garvey and Ronce play against, these guys in the pennant, and then watch them play one of these 2-3 teams for 4 or 5 years in a row. And I think that made baseball way more engaging. And I think it's why people caught on to baseball a lot more then. That's just me.
Well, and also you had as far as you had a rooting interest, even if your team, right? Everybody had a favorite team, and you were either an AL guy or an NL guy. So even if your team wasn't in it, you were probably rooting for the National League team if your team was an NL team in the World Series. Or
sometimes,
sometimes, but unless you're one of those, I root for a New York team. You could be one of those guys.
Or I just rooted.
I can't do that. I know some people do, but
I mean,
my point was the country was divided that way, generally speaking.
Right.
Now the difference is gone.
Right.
With the DH and all these teams in. So where's the rooting interest if your team isn't one of the 12 that made it? There's no who are you going to pick? All right, I'm going to pick the Diamondbacks just because why not? It's maybe a little better story, or they're more of an underdog, and I like underdogs. So, but I mean, I don't love the Diamondbacks. I loved it when they beat the Yankees.
The Diamondbacks remind me of
Diamondbacks fan.
Don't bring that up again.
Yeah. Well, this Diamondback team reminds me of the Nationals team that won. What was it? 7 years ago now.
No, 4 or 5 years. 4 years ago. 4 years ago.
That's it.
Yeah,
has to be more than that.
Yeah. 2019. Yes, the Astros won in
2017. Okay.
17 was the Astros. 18 was the Red Sox.
Okay. Anyway.
2020 was the Dodgers.
Seems like a long time ago. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, they remind me of that team. Now maybe they won't become that team, but name 3 people from that Nationals team.
Max Scherzer, Juan Soto, and Trey Turner.
There you go. Those are the big 3. And how many of them are Nationals the next year?
Well, they all left the Nationals, but they broke it down. They got rid of everybody.
Well, my point being is that I could see the same thing happening. I mean, it was basically they shuffled the dice. They didn't know what they had. It was a farm team that gelled, and these superstars at a very young age, with the exception of Scherzer, came together. And so, this is what I'm sort of seeing with the Diamondbacks. It's the same thing.
Right. Yeah, and listen, they made a couple of moves mid-season to shore up their bullpen.
And they had the same thing. Like they had this huge bullpen. Yeah.
But you got to give credit. Yeah. They saw there was an opportunity here, and they made a move, and it paid off. And look, they won 84, and I think the Marlins won 84 games. Right. Honestly, neither one of them really belonged in the playoffs. And it is. Listen, it's. I think I said this last time too. It's a tournament now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not really the playoffs anymore. It's a tournament.
Really, you're right.
And
it is.
Anybody can win a tournament if you get hot.
Well, there's only one game difference between the NCAA tournament and the first round of the baseball playoffs.
Right.
You only get 2 games to lose. If you lose 2 games, you're out.
Right.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I just wish you're talking about the players on the Diamondbacks that you're referring to and how they gelled and everything else. I just wish that the closer last night, the Diamondbacks, shutdown closer, pitched as well as he does for the Diamondbacks now for the team that he, was drafted.
Well, we could talk. There's a whole list of people. I know what you're talking about, but be a Yankees fan. I mean, this entire postseason is people that Cashman gave up on or traded away for a garbage can and a fucking ink cartridge, and they were all playing. And
I'm pretty sure Jordan Montgomery came in
right
in Game 7 on Monday night.
Right, and look at Zach Wheeler, how important he's been. I mean, Jesus.
That's how much does that hurt, John?
Right.
Hey, you know what? I watch the way Zach Wheeler's pitching. It makes me want to just go throw a garbage can at the Wilpons.
Although in that case, I will say it's not like they gave up on Wheeler after a season.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, they just didn't want to pay him. That's the problem.
They
were giving up on him. He pitched well.
Got hurt. He kept getting hurt.
He did get hurt. Good for him. I mean,
at one point in his career, he was out for a year and a half. Yes, of course.
To me, it wasn't a slam dunk that he should go, but I remember going, he'll probably catch out with somebody else because that always happens to the Mets. But I didn't feel horrible about it.
And initially they were right.
It was every though. It was everybody.
Initially they were right.
Then it was everybody that they had though, because you think about that lineup, that starting lineup they had, starting rotation they had. DeGrom. DeGrom. Syndergaard, Harvey, Matz, and Wheeler, right?
Yeah.
Who are you paying? The Wilpons weren't going to pay all of them. They want to pay one of them. That was it.
Right.
And now, granted, DeGrom injured now and older and tail end of his career, whatever you want to call it, the best out of those 5 guys for sure. But Wheeler's proven to be the second best out of
He's the only one still standing.
Yeah. But it took him a little while after that.
It did. Like I was going to say,
he left the next year.
It was the right move for the first 4 years after they did it. I mean, how old is Zach Wheeler? 34?
34, 35, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for a pitcher to come back and
it's still painful though.
I know. Well, do you know what it's like watching Aroldis Chapman pitch and not blow for a team?
Yeah,
that's more painful than watching.
You were watching that game the other night, figuring up this is it. He always blows it to the Astros.
Zach Wheeler is a good guy who I root for, and I'm not even a Mets fan, but I always liked him. Aroldis Chapman does not deserve to get one strike called. He's just horrible.
So let's see. Obviously, he was on the Yankees for a bit before the Chicago trade, but the main beef of his Yankees career, the 2 seasons bookending his Yankees career, he went to the World Series.
Yeah. Well, no. Right. Well, he was on the Yankees.
That's why I said he got traded to the Cubs, and then they brought him back. But those 2 seasons bookending the main beef of his Yankees career, he went to the World Series.
I mean, I still can't remember. LeMahieu hits the go-ahead home run. All Chapman has to do is get 3 outs.
Yep.
And up comes Juan Altuve, which I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get off it then because we move on to other things. If I had to make a list, and I know Roger Hornsby and there's some other old timers from, as Pete would say, before the camera was invented. If I was to start an all-time postseason team, Juan Altuve's starting at second base. No doubt about it. Anyway.
Yeah, I think you could.
Altuve
could do a lot worse.
Yeah.
What did you say the other day? Altuve is proven to be the best second baseman in playoff history, or something like that.
He's the best second baseman in postseason history, and I think that he doesn't show any real signs of really slowing down. I think when you really get to the bottom of it, and you take out the Knuckles Garcia, who played for the Philadelphia A's and the Mississippi, Hedgehog back in the day and hit 17.
Mississippi Hedgehogs were the shit back in the day. I mean, they really were. Well,
and look, Rogers, Hornsby, you're never going to break them. But what Altuve's done, plus the fact that everything sort of goes like this in the playoffs, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to make a cogent argument that he's not going to go down as the best second baseman ever play the game.
Yeah, you don't think Knobloch gives him a little? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Knobloch didn't even know he was playing second base for that last year. That's why all his
if
stars
you
were off.
take out the throwing,
You thought he was at
aspect of the
shortstop.
position, then Knobloch's great.
If you take out the throwing, he's good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's
Still
the
make
old
him
joke. There's the old joke that Pedro Martinez knocked Don Zimmer down, but Chuck Knobloch made Don Zimmer wear a helmet.
Right.
All right, so who do we like here?
I think it's a complete toss-up.
I really do.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to go 7.
I think it's going to go 7, and honestly, I think the Diamondbacks are going to win it. I do.
The only thing that makes me maybe make an argument against that is I do think Texas beat a good team. I'm not saying they're better than Philly, the Astros, but the way in which Texas came on and the way in which they're just destroying the baseball, I can't see that stopping right now. I don't think the Diamondbacks pitching is that much better than the Astros that they're going to be able to control it. I just think this is a hot.
It depends on how many games Max Scherzer actually pitches.
He wasn't
horrible.
Well, he was.
He wasn't Carlos Rodon horrible the other day.
That is true. He only gave up 2 runs the other day. He only gave 2 runs.
A couple things about the Astros. Number one, what do they have to do to start winning at home? We know they had a losing record at home.
Well, this is the first year that's happened, though.
Right. Okay, but it carried through the playoffs as well.
Yeah, and not even a close losing season. Bad.
Yeah, they had a bad losing season. They did.
And the other thing is, a lot has been said about Bochy and what's his name?
Dusty
the
Baker
manager for the Astros. Dusty Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty now 0-4 in Game 7s. Bochy now 3-0 in Game 7s.
And 5-0 in elimination games. 5-0.
Yeah. And I think Dusty's like 0-6 in elimination. And some really questionable moves made or not made by Dusty Baker, leaving Price in for 7 or 8 batters.
I agree. That was where the series, I think it was over with that move.
And
he just wasn't aggressive enough with getting guys out of there. And the other thing is
not pinch hitting for the guy at the bottom of the order.
Yeah.
And I know, why would you pitch to what's his name? Garcia.
Right.
The guy's hitting a home run every other time he comes to the plate. Why are you even throwing?
They had room on the base.
Especially because the guy behind him was hitting 116. At the time. So
it was mismanaged. It was those games were mismanaged a little bit by
I think his pitching rotation. I think he started Valdez with not as much rest as he should have had, and that screwed everything up towards the latter part of the series. So I mean, I love Dusty Baker. I think he's great, but I think he got outcoached a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I'm hearing now, and I'm going to assume it's true because I've heard it from a couple of different, the pundits.
Yes, he is going to be the Mets' new coach.
No. What they're saying is,
you pick your worst.
No, we talked. Remember, we talked about Buck,
right?
About a month left in the season or a couple months ago. Just throw the analytics away and let him. Well, apparently that's what Bruce Bochy gets to do, and not because they hired him and said just go manage. Yes, you're going to look at the analytics, but you don't have to make those decisions based on it. Go with your gut, do what you do. And he walks in with a team that he doesn't know, and once again, he's going to the World Series again.
But that's
where do you rank, if he wins this World Series, where do you rank Bruce Bochy?
I
ranked him high. Three World Series in 5 years, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. But he's done that with every team that he's won with. Is that number one, he's come in and sort of turned them around, and then even after success, he's not given the gift of really having the same lineup the next year. So he doesn't, and it's always an up and down kind of one shitty year, 1 year back, kind of scenario. Top 10 all time, without a doubt.
Yeah. And I mean, like one bad year for him is with San Diego, right? You went to the World Series. You didn't win it. You went up against one of the greatest teams in the history of the game.
Right.
And, that was your down year.
But what he did with San Diego year in and year out with a limited roster was always impressive.
He's a great manager.
And his first World Series with the Giants, what team did he beat in the World Series?
The Mets. No, I don't know.
The Rangers.
Rangers.
Interesting. So full circle.
Full circle. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
So Diamondbacks,
well,
Harry. You got to pick somebody.
I'm gonna go with the Rangers. I hate Garcia or Garcia. I hope somebody beans him in the fucking forehead. But I'm gonna go with Texas. I hate the Diamondbacks. Just can't stand them.
What's he got? Okay, so Pete is Diamondbacks.
So you're
Harry
making a rational choice like me.
Irrational all the way. There's nothing.
Yeah. I hope it's a good series.
And let me preface all this by saying, if I watch more than one game, the over/under on games I am watching, or let me put it this way: the over/under on total innings I will watch is 7.
So what? So here you go. Watch one inning. Watch the 9th inning of each game.
That's probably what I'll do.
There you go. There you go. We got one comment from Dave Scardino. He's picking the Rangers.
There you go.
All right.
We're not talking the New York Rangers. We're talking the Texas Rangers.
And I'm going to mark that down too, Dave. So here we go.
I just think Texas is usually pitching.
Dave Scardino, fresh back from San Diego, picks the Rangers.
Texas is just mashing the ball, and Garcia is just holy smokes.
Yeah.
That guy should walk every time up.
He should.
Yeah, I wouldn't pitch anywhere near him.
A couple quick things for you. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, Chris Russo said if the Diamondbacks beat the Phillies in Game 7, he said he will retire on the spot. Has he seen the game yet? Because he hasn't retired yet.
Well, thank God he hasn't retired, because he's one of 3 people worthwhile watching on ESPN. That waste of a channel.
There you go. And the other thing I was going to say, you talk about that for the Mets. Craig Counsell, Mets just got permission from the Brewers to interview him instead of waiting till November.
What
like
they could have done.
So they're going to interview him soon. What's the over/under on him getting hired and being the next manager?
I mean, the odds are 6,000 to 1
in favor of him
getting hired.
I think the handwriting's on the wall that Craig Counsell is the manager of the.
It's either him or Craig Kilborn. I'm not quite sure.
Could be either.
Listen,
it could be.
I'd be all right with that.
They could do worse than Craig Kilborn, sure, absolutely.
Or Dusty Baker.
And the other thing, too, is Bob Melvin was just introduced today as the new skipper of the Giants.
Good for him.
There you go.
Enjoy being an also-ran.
Well, isn't it about time
until you knock off the Dodgers?
Well, it's about time for the Giants to win another World Series, or at least win 106 games again. You know, like win 108 games, suck. Like that's kind of
you win 108 games and lose the World Series. Win 90 games and win the World Series. That's what it is.
Or win
they've got a guy named
Harrison.
Yeah, they've got a guy named Harrison Bumgarner in their minor league system. So
Harrison Bumgarner.
Harrison Bumgarner.
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple of quick baseball things.
Go for it.
We all know who Kim Ng is, right?
Sure.
I follow her on Instagram.
Look, a team that costs $50 to pay their players. And all right, that's 12 teams in the playoffs, but at least they were one of them. Didn't put up much of a showing, but first time the Marlins have even sniffed the playoffs in God knows when. And so the ownership said, great job, Kim. We're going to hire someone who'll be your boss now.
Right.
And she said, no, you're not, because I fucking quit.
Yep.
Probably, I'm paraphrasing there. So
you might not be.
Maybe not. So she's gone, maybe a free agent. Yeah, I don't know. Someone should hire her. Someone should hire her.
Yeah.
Cashman, are you listening?
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Actually, I would maybe start rooting for the Yankees if they hired her to be the GM.
Plus she could, you know, she can't do any worse than Carlos Rodon if that's a 6 starter.
There you go.
Yep.
Somebody said the other day that maybe the Mets should hire to replace whatchamacallit?
The new one.
Yeah, Billy Epler. But it's the same thing, right? They hired her boss they hired a president of baseball operations. Well, Stearns is the president of baseball operations at the Mets, so it would be the same scenario. It would be one that she'd be going into.
She needs to be GM.
She needs to be GM. It has to be her word. That's what it is.
And they need to let her do what she does.
Right.
The Mets might be a little better situation because you're getting a new GM and a new coach at the same time, as opposed to a holdover somewhere.
If Brian,
someone above her making those decisions and all that.
Yeah, it's the same position.
Right.
Yeah, if Brian Cashman retired tomorrow, and the Yankees announced hurt, the Yankees won't do it because the Yankees suck. But I'd be like, great, let's do it. Give her control. Yeah. Let her do what she does best.
All right. Speaking of the Marlins, guess how many times the Marlins, either the Florida Marlins or the Miami Marlins,
either or.
Guess how many times, how many seasons they have had over 2 million fans in the ballpark?
2.
1.
It's 3.
So I win.
Together,
I was closest without going over.
Altogether, it's 3. The first time
we got it right. We got to put the two of us together. We got it right.
The first time their inaugural season in 1993.
I would have
said
that.
The only time they went over 3 million. It was barely over 3 million.
And then half their fan base died the next year.
1997, it was 2,364,000. They won the World Series. They were the first wild card team to win the World Series.
First wild card team to win the World Series.
Who did they beat that year? The Indians?
They beat the Indians that year, yeah.
Now, I will throw in as sort of a caveat 1994 when they had 1,937,000 fans. That's pretty close to 2, but not over. And then 2012, 2,219,000. And that is at the new ballpark, and that's the first year at the new ballpark. Mm-hmm. So really their inaugural year, the year they won, one of the years they won the World Series, and the first year at the new ballpark. Mm-hmm. 2019 to 2022, we'll take out the year 2020 because of COVID, less than 1 million fans. And then this past season, 1,162,819 fans.
Well, it's Miami.
It is time for the Marlins to move. It's time for them to go somewhere else.
You know, it's not glamorous. It's not late enough at night like the Heat games are, where you can be seen. There's too many games, and everybody's naked doing coke and fucking, so they don't have time to go to a baseball game.
Think instead of expansion, I know we've talked about expansion
or something like that.
Exactly.
Well, if they're going to expand to 32 and have 8 4-team divisions and then have 8 division winners go to the playoffs, but we know they're not going to back down from 12 teams. But forget about expansion. Move Miami somewhere.
But here's my question mark: is it the team or is it Miami? Because Miami has consistently had a rabid fan base for football and basketball and even hockey. So I don't know.
Well, but look, they won a couple of World Series in 97, and then when was the next one? 2003.
In their first 10 years of existence, they won 2 World Series.
Yeah,
well, and in
between, the team was completely broken down and then rebuilt.
What's that?
When did they win the second World Series?
2003,
I think, right?
Okay,
2003. Yeah, you don't remember what team they beat, Harry?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I remember now.
All right, there you go.
But look, whether it's the city or whether it's the team, I mean, they haven't had much success since then. Right. Whichever it is, it's time for them to go somewhere.
I think it's the summer in Miami thing.
Well, it could be that too. Dave just said it's because they're all at the
beach.
Yeah, they're all naked, and then they go, and then it's
go to South Beach afterwards.
Club time.
Club time. Yeah.
I think started the games at 2 a.m. and had some drinks and a disco ball. Then
listen, with your ticket, you get a couple of drinks.
That's right.
That could very well be the case. It could very well be the case. The day games, nobody's going to. Everybody's on the beach. Right?
Bad Bunny performs in the 7th inning. Yeah.
It's just not catching on. It's been 30 years now, but it's just not catching on. It's not.
Just tell everybody Pat Riley's going to be
rabid fan base for the Dolphins. They have 8 games there a year. And
right, exactly
8 or 9 now.
Well, or 9,
right. So move them, send them somewhere else. Yeah. All right. Also, best retirement ever. He said, raising his voice to indicate a question.
Ever?
Trevor May.
Who?
Trevor May.
Trevor May.
Who's that?
reliever for the Oakland Athletics, who retired and ripped the team and the owner John in doing so, and rightfully so, because John Fisher is a grade A-hole and ought to be thrown out of baseball for what he's done to that team and that city, also that he can move to freaking Vegas, where they don't even have a stadium.
You know what would be the most Oakland A's thing of all time? Is if they re-sign him next year.
Well, yeah.
He comes out of retirement.
Sell the team, dude. Sell it, man. If you're going to be a greedy fuck, own it.
There's teams left in Oakland, and don't tell me the Warriors play in Oakland.
Not anymore.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You know, it's like there's no teams left in Oakland. And look, I haven't been to Oakland many times, but I've been there 4 or 5 times in my life.
It's been Oakland once.
It's odd that they've had that many teams anyway, especially right in the shadow of, San Francisco. It's but I mean, thinking about having baseball without the Oakland A's, to me, is sadder than having football without the Raiders, because the Raiders have kind of bounced around a little bit, come back, but the Oakland A's, man, they're the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
True story.
Not for much longer, though.
Not for much longer.
Well, unless
not
baseball
at all.
decides
Maybe they're going to work their way back to Philly. They started in Philly.
Yeah, enough with that.
just keep moving east every few years.
Just go back. They go back.
They can go to Miami.
Philly to Kansas City to Oakland. Now they're back to Kansas City. Back
Miami should have 2 teams playing in that arena, in that stadium. And then this way,
then they guarantee $2 million in that stadium,
or at least
3.
I guarantee 3.
Yeah, that's all I got for baseball.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
enjoy the World Series.
Let's move it up to football. Let's talk about Week 7 for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, let's go back a week, because we didn't do a show last week. We were recuperating from our live show. All right.
Well, Pete had a little situation in Asbury Park, but
yeah,
the lawyers have sorted it out.
It's all sorted. It's all taken care of. It's all good. We're fine.
Most of the charges have been dropped.
There you go.
and the windows have been replaced.
And the windows have been replaced, right?
Yeah.
But in any event, yeah. So last Sunday, Week 6, just one game, because 1 week back we'll go, because this particular team, they didn't have a game this past week. They were on a bye, and that would be the Jets, and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
And I really want to get Pete's take on it. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles. They were previously 0-12 against the Eagles, lifetime, the Jets. So I just was curious what Radio Pete's take was on his Jets beating them Dirty Birds.
Radio Pete's Jet Minute.
This is I can't say it was expected.
You want to play the sauce short?
No.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, he's out this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what should be a winnable game for them.
Right.
And we'll have to figure out if that's, I don't know. I know someone who's going to put them on the list of picks this week.
Would that be you?
No, that'll be me.
If
no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah, listen. Anyone who thinks that the Jets are on the way and Zach Wilson's going to be great and he's getting better every week, no. The Eagles have not played great this season, despite their 6-1 record.
Despite them destroying the Miami Dolphins.
No, yeah.
Well, I got a couple things I want to mention.
Pretty darn good this past week, but every what is it? The blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
True.
The Eagles played down. It was kind of a trap game. The Jets got enough out of their defense.
Mm-hmm. So you believe it was the trap game scenario, basically?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, look, the Jets defense we know is good, but it's not fantastically good. It's not. I don't know. I maybe put it top 6 in the NFL, maybe top 5 in the NFL, but it's not shut everybody down and all they got to do is score 11 and they'll win every game.
Right.
But they're, keeping them in it, and Zach Wilson is being a game manager and getting enough done. You get a couple of good plays, you get a nice running play here and there, somebody breaks one, and you hang around and you can win a game like this.
That's true.
You know,
Sure.
but you kind of get, the Jets are going to kind of get that.
Can't read it. Bring it closer. A-Rod back week 11.
All right. Yeah. So, but if they put a couple more of these together, or if it hasn't happened already, teams are going to start taking them seriously or more seriously and coming in and trying to put the pounding on them instead of going, it's the Jets. They got a good defense, but they can't score.
Right.
So,
all right.
It's a nice win. I'm very happy.
There you go.
They're 3-3, a surprising 3-3, so that's good. But to think that their problems are over, and they're going to be just fine, no. They're still a bad team with a good defense.
Dave Scardino says, "Love when the Eagles lose." As a Cowboys fan, of course he does.
Look, here's my take on the NFL. In the famous words of Mr. Radio Pete, are they for real? Not one team in the NFL is for real, with the exception of the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're not as real as they used to be.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
That's my summary of the NFL. Anybody could beat anybody on any day. It's a toss-up.
Right. In Jersey Johnny's Conspiracy Corner. Okay. We'll call it. All right.
This is brought to you by the Flat Earthers of America. Come get a free signing of Kyrie Irving's new book. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
It should be the Conspiracy Cornfield. That corner is big enough to hold
That's
it.
true. All right, this is not me, and I don't necessarily agree with this, but I thought it was funny and amusing and interesting, so I just want to bring it up. Ghetto Grunk on Instagram, or might have been Twitter, I don't know, but anyway, posted penalties tonight. This was Sunday, the Eagles Dolphins game. Penalties tonight on the Dolphins, 10. Penalties on the Eagles, 0.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's fine if they didn't commit any. But he posted 4 pictures, and I saw them too, of
they were obvious.
Blatant face mask in front of an official, a neck tackle by an offensive lineman. So, I mean, not a more blatant hold. And then several other holds. Not one of them called. Okay.
In a game where there's a hold on every play.
In a game where there's a hold on every play, none on Philly, right? And then couple that with, this is an actual article, NFL referee Dwayne Height, Heydt, Height, I guess you pronounce it.
Dwayne Rerun Johnson.
Right. From the Eagles-Dolphins game, who called the roughing the passer on Miami, along with several other penalties, okay? He's from Layton, Pennsylvania, which is 65 miles north of the link, and he has been suspended previously for unethical refereeing. Just saying.
So there's no way he should have been calling that game.
So that's one game. That's one game for the Eagles. How do you explain the Chiefs? Because I'm not usually on this conspiracy train, but let me tell you something. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, this blows you. The facts are just there, game in and game out. It's just over and over and over again. It's just horrible refereeing. It's like
2 weeks in a row. The Jets. I mean,
go back to the Jets-Chiefs game.
Yeah,
where Patrick Mahomes runs for 40 yards on a
Well, there was no
3rd and 39, and there's a blatant hold right in front of as Mahomes runs past it.
Right.
I mean,
NFL
referees, I think, have surpassed baseball umpires as the worst in professional sports. Mm-hmm. Because with baseball, there's Angel Hernandez, who's the fucking worst official in the history of sports.
Mm-hmm. And he's consistently bad.
But consistently terrible. Not bad, terrible. But in a baseball game, it's usually the home plate guy who gets the heat, right? Because either they're calling it well or they're not. But in the NFL, it's one time it's the back judge, then it's the line judge, then it's a guy from across the field who's throwing a late flag or a flag that doesn't come out until after the end of the play. Right. I mean, they're really, really bad.
Really bad.
Or it was a tipped ball when it wasn't a tipped ball. There's pass interference when there wasn't pass interference, and there's no penalty. There's no offensive pass interference because we just decided to change it. Right. It's just, it's
or we called a bullshit unsportsmanlike or roughing on one team to offset the obvious penalty on the other team. So that way nothing happens, which is ridiculous. One penalty has to be worse than the other, so enforce it or enforce part of it or something. But I think they have surpassed baseball umpires as terrible. I mean, that's why they have a challenge.
There has to be some accountability. There has to be some accountability. Find them. I mean, is something blatant? I mean, put in something because Jim Irsay actually, I just read it before. I was trying to look for it. I couldn't find it, but he said he's going to Goodell and he's telling him he wants everything. There are certain things that can't be challenged, which is bullshit. And I've said from day one, let anything be challenged. You still only have two.
Let nothing be challenged.
But here, you still only have two challenges, and if you win both of those challenges, you get a third. Nothing else. But
why are some things unchallengeable?
Doesn't keep going. Why? Because it's going to take too. No. If the coach wants to challenge it, that's his prerogative.
It already takes too long.
But if the coach wants to challenge it, it's his prerogative. And if he goes through his three, and if he wins all three of them, he doesn't have any more except for booth reviews. But what he said was, in the last 2 minutes of each quarter, in the last 2 minutes and a half, in the last 2 minutes of the game, when it goes to a booth review, let everything be challengeable. Everything.
I agree.
Everything. That's it. Not during the whole game, just during the last 2 minutes of each half. Let everything be challengeable. So it's not even up to the coach then. It's up to the booth. Let everything be challengeable. And I agree with him because I agree with everything should be challengeable in the first place. Because these refs suck. They need to have accountability, and they need to hire some better refs, and they need to have some better training. Because either A, there's cheating, or B, they really blow big time. It's either way. They need new refs. So, soapbox off. I'm done.
Yeah, all right. Listen, fine them, suspend them, don't let them work the playoffs. I've also heard people say, "Well, let's have professional referees." Instead of these part-time guys that
let's
whatever
face it, they're professional. They're just double dipping.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they still get paid.
Refereeing has been really bad. It's one thing when they throw a flag that's disputable, but it's another when they don't throw a flag when there's a blatant penalty.
Yeah. Or have you noticed this year there was no flag on the play? I've seen flags getting thrown and then they gather around, no flag on the play.
Yeah, we can't do that. We can't do that.
Why are we throwing all these flags in? And why is there so many more of them this year than ever before? I don't understand it. Is it like you just can't keep it in your pocket? What does this say?
Apparently, the conspiracy, and this isn't me. The conspiracy that I heard is that, and I have no idea how true this is. So this is a story until proven otherwise. But I heard this second or third hand. I heard it. Is that Vegas was having a really bad day because of a lot of games on Sunday. So they needed one that they could actually, upset, not upset, but they needed the Eagles to win in order to break even, basically, that kind of thing. So I'm sure there's a lot of bullshit to that.
It's hard to believe that Vegas ever has a day where they lose money.
I wonder if the NFL gets any money from Vegas.
Well, I don't know. Hey, listen, here's good news for football fans.
Go for
it. Flag football has been added to the 2028 Olympics. I didn't know if you guys knew that.
I did know that.
So that's going to be exciting.
I watched female high school flag football at halftime of the Broncos game, and there were better passes being thrown and there was more touchdowns scored. In the exhibition at halftime than there was during the game. So
how was the game at Mile High the other day? How was it?
It was fun to go. I love going to sporting events no matter what. I will say this, there was a lot of Green Bay fans there who are fucking annoying. And too many of them, quite honestly. And
too many of them there or too many of them that were annoying?
Too many. Well, that's a redundant question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was nice. I'm not a huge Broncos fan, but I immediately became a Broncos fan, and it was Both teams ran the ball pretty well. Pretty good defensive game. They finally scored some touchdowns. That game shouldn't have been as close as it was. Surtain had an interception by the new rules, clearly in the end zone. Again, bad play calling. Possession 2 feet down, and then the receiver for Green Bay took it away from him, and they ruled it a touchdown. So game shouldn't have even been as close as it was. But it was a nail biter. Jordan Love was marching him down the field, and then he did what most quarterbacks do, threw a shitty pass.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful day. It's a great stadium. It's a fun time. The experience on the getting to the light rail after the game is that should be filmed and put on a live cast. Just call it humanity at its worst.
You'll have to do it again. You'll have to go again to another game and live stream.
Just people
we can listen. We could do that and then compare it to the Long Island Railroad when the Rangers lose at home.
Right.
And that train back is just bad news. Bad news.
Question for
poorly fanned transit, we'll call it.
Yeah. Question for both of you. Okay. Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones?
They're both healthy?
If they're both healthy, who's playing?
Well, if they're healthy, Jones is going to play. Who do I want to play?
No. That's who should play? Who you want to play? Are you
Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones should play. He's your quarterback of the future. Tyrod Taylor's not. You signed him.
I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just asking you the question.
Signed him, and
this winning bullshit by the Giants. It's going to make this question of Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones be prolonged for years to come, and I don't want to have this discussion anymore. So I don't know. Taylor looked okay. Daniel Jones in his defense has looked fairly good, okay as well. The offensive line, as piecemeal as it is, with 3 starters out, right? Did I see Justin Pugh is back playing for the Giants?
Justin Pugh straight off the couch.
They look better than they have in.
See that, Pete, when he did these announcements?
Yeah.
This is the battle of the ragtag O-lines going on this week, right?
I mean, I didn't watch as much as it as you did, John, but don't you think that was the best the Giants' offensive line has looked all year?
Yeah, I did.
That's telling you something about the Giants' ability to.
They didn't look really that bad in Buffalo last week either.
No, they didn't.
They look better this week.
Yeah.
Well, and that line, that defensive line for the Commanders is nothing to.
And let's also be honest. The Giants' defense have played their 2 best games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
let me throw this at you. I was keeping track of this on Sunday. This is the drive summary for the Giants Commanders game.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna go back. So first quarter, this is how each drive ended.
Right.
Punt, missed field goal, punt. Second
Sounds
quarter,
like that, right? Yeah.
Touchdown, punt, interception, touchdown, punt. End of the half.
Exciting second quarter. Yeah.
Punt, touchdown, punt.
Yeah.
And fourth quarter, missed field goal, fumble, turnover on downs, end of the game.
Yeah.
An offensive blitzkrieg, if you will.
Oh my God, it was
amazing,
such a juggernaut.
And I'm looking, I go, what is the score? 6-3? It was a little bit of that.
Here's where I'll give the Giants a little.
Here's
where I'll give the Giants a little bit of.
But they won.
A little bit of credit is that I don't know if you can ask that defense to play any better. Yeah. And number 2, that the Commodores are not a horrible team. They have beaten some good teams this year, and they've been known to be able to come back and stay in games. So, unfortunately, I think that this bodes fairly well for the Giants against. They finally proved that they could beat a team that they are as bad as. Right.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And they'll probably break some hearts this weekend by having a game that they shouldn't have and ruin, the hopes and dreams of Jets fans. Who knows? I still think the Jets will win.
We will find out. Find out on Sunday.
Yeah,
All right.
interesting.
All right. There you go. Cool.
It sounds like Jones is going to be out again. So
I do want to ask you a couple of questions. One, what do you think of Tyson Bagent?
Am I supposed to know who that is?
I guess you didn't know.
No.
Justin Fields was out for the Bears this past week, and
Tyson
Bagent
okay,
came in,
yeah,
and won the game.
I like that he was
a Division II,
right. And when they asked him what it felt like, he was just like, "Yeah, got some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Think it's okay. Got to work on a few things."
There you go. Peter, you just get bigger.
You did. You got a little closer.
Don't be shy.
I did. Well, you guys are breaking up a little bit on me, so I tried to change my camera.
Tried to change it.
There you go.
I'm in your face.
In your face. So anyway, and he played 5 years at Division II.
Am I sounding all right to you guys?
You sound fine.
I mean, other than the nonsense you spew, yeah.
You sound absolutely
fine. Your audio is fine.
No, not what how I sound. Yeah.
Tyson Bagent. He played Division II. He played Division II college football. Was an undrafted player. The Bears brought him on for tryout.
Working at a Jamba Juice or something.
He went all the way up and became the number 2, and then they started him this week. So, but now they have a quarterback controversy.
Yeah, do they really?
No. Well, I mean, should they know? Should they know? Justin Fields is a good quarterback, or should be a good quarterback. But the way he's been playing versus the way
he's the next Brock Purdy.
Maybe he's the next Brock Purdy
until or the old Brock Purdy.
Maybe exactly. On that note, good segue. I like what you did. He's the new old Brock Purdy. So, San Francisco, second loss in a row Monday night against the Vikings.
This is my point that I said earlier. There is no team in the NFL right now that I have utter confidence in, other than the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're not even as good as they were last year, but they seem to have a way of winning no matter what.
Nope.
So there's no other team that I have complete faith in right now. Look, San Francisco is going to be without Purdy probably with the concussion. They've got some serious injuries that they're dealing with. Philly, like Pete was saying, they didn't play great games, and despite your conspiracy corner, they smoked the Dolphins. So who saw that coming? The Dolphins, who are supposed to be the best team ever, I think there's problems at San Francisco, and I think people have kind of figured out how to slow them down a little bit. And there's only so much that defense can do. You can't blame the defense for the loss to Minnesota, can you?
No, you can't.
So, but again, it's the Vikings. They just stick around. It's just God.
I know.
They represent their quarterback so much. Are they good? Who knows? They are the Kirk Cousins of the NFL.
Well, they quite literally, yeah. On that note, should the NFL now? The only other thing I want to bring up is should the NFL change from NFL to TSL?
What does that mean?
The Taylor Swift League.
Yeah, look, I got an argument the other day with somebody because I didn't agree 100% that Taylor Swift is an angel sent from heaven who is, saving Earth from ourselves. Look, I understand it's good. It's good to expand for whatever reason. It's good for business.
Mm-hmm.
She has this magic power, and when sports news programs start off with a highlight of Taylor Swift over anything else, I'm kind of annoyed by it, but I understand why they're doing it.
Sure.
I guess it's better than listening. It's one less minute of Kendrick Perkins that I have to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So sure. I mean,
true. Very true. Very true. All right.
Yeah. Why not?
Exactly. So
I got one more thing.
One more thing. Go for it.
One more thing. One more NFL thing. I think maybe one. Just one. Yeah. Brett Maher. That name ring a bell? Just one for the NFL. Brett Maher.
It was a
former
tight
kicker
end
for the Rams. He's out of a job
kicker,
now.
Yeah. Where is he now?
Yeah, missed two field goals and an extra point for the Rams this past week, who lost by 7, and he was responsible for 7. And they were both, I think one was a 53 and one was a 51-yard kick, but should have made both of them. He's not been very good. This is a guy that missed 4 extra points for Dallas last year in the wild card game, although they came handily. So he's out of a job. So anybody looking for a kicker, Brett Maher.
Don't get him.
LA signed some guy off, like I think the Cleveland practice squad. So never kicked in the NFL.
I believe I heard that they're actually
really needed Rams.
Real time with Brett Maher.
Right. Yeah. Brett Maher.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That's all I got for football.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Little beaten by the coin.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do a little beaten by the coin.
I thought you were. Are we delayed to you?
To me?
See, I guess we are.
No, I don't think so.
Can you read my lips? Can you see what I'm saying and hear it at the same time?
What I'm saying and hear it at the same time.
Are you smoking those funny cigarettes again?
I wouldn't call them cigarettes.
Are you like a bubbler?
I'd call them joints.
There you go. Shit.
I wouldn't call them cigarettes. I'd call them fentanyl.
There you go. Anyway, all right.
All right, little beat by the coin.
No one wants to be beaten by the coin.
Little theme music. Oh, I'm not hearing it. Oh, there it is. There we go. All right, well, another brilliant yours truly. Picking up one lousy point thanks to the Hail Mary effort of the round. We all picked. Anyway.
We can barely, oh, there you go. Better.
There we go now. Is that better?
You're good now. That's better, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, don't touch anything.
So here's what happened. So, John, you picked up 2. Your win with the Browns. You're at 29 points right now. Harry, you picked up 3. Your win for the Browns. You're at 26. I picked up 1 for the Browns. I'm at 21. The coin picked up 3 points, 2 for the Browns and 1 for the Eagles, and now sits tied with John at 29.
Wait, you're in last place?
I'm in last. I'm 5 behind you and 8 behind John and the coin.
Oh wow. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I thought I was in last place.
I've been trying to pick up some points by not necessarily going with what I think is the most likely win for the 3, trying to get.
I got you. This week was tough. We all of us only won 1 game, so.
Well, the coin won 2 because the coin took the Eagles, but it was a single point. I really didn't expect us all to take the Lions and all to take the Browns.
Fuck the Lions.
Yeah. Fuck the
Speaking
Lions.
of, are they for real? No, they're not.
Yeah, the answer is no.
This just in.
So what are this week's games? I'm choosing the Jets and Giants as my game.
Jets and Giants. You're gonna make me pick that game. Oh god.
Yep.
Well, that's automatically my 1-pointer. So,
but who are you picking?
I don't know yet. I'll let you know.
Who's at home? Who's the home team?
The Giants.
Giants are home.
I know.
I know.
Right, so
I see where you were going.
That was funny. Again, that was funny.
I get it. I'm slow tonight. What do you want? All right. Okay, Harry, what's the game you're picking?
Oh, I don't know. It required me to do homework.
Required you to do homework. There you
go. John, go ahead. Why don't you pick it up?
I kind of wanted you to go because I'm
okay. You know, here's a game that it's not in my best interest to pick because I have no idea who's going to win. And I guess maybe we shouldn't pick it because we don't know about Brock Purdy. I was going to say Bengals and 49ers, but I can't stand these games where there's major injuries that you don't know if somebody's going to play.
They're going to affect it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't want to do that. All right.
Yeah. Listen, I think there's some good choices here. I think
that's a good game. I mean,
the Bucs and the Bills might be a good game, although the Bills will probably be on a rampage.
I think the Browns and Seahawks are going to be a good game.
Browns and Seahawks
might
be
a good
game,
but Deshaun Watson is out for the game.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying the Browns might have a better chance.
I mean, we could go the other way. Like Bears, Chargers. You know, who's the best of amongst the worst, so to speak. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of two good teams going against it. I mean, Jaguars, Steelers, maybe, but I don't. I think the Jaguars are better than the Steelers.
You know what?
How the Steelers have 4 wins is a mystery.
I'm gonna take it anyway. I'm gonna pick the Bengals at the 49ers.
All right.
This way, they're just and I'm gonna flip a coin probably.
As is Pete. There you go.
All right, John.
All right. I'm actually going to go with. You know what? I got to get back on track with them, and they got to get back on track. I'm taking the Raiders-Lions.
Raiders-Lions.
Monday night game. You're going to make us wait till Monday night, huh?
Yep.
All right.
Lions at home, huh?
Yep.
All right. So I think for our respective games, we should each. Whoever chose the game should pick first. Does that sound fair?
Sure. Go for it.
And then we'll figure out what our points are after we see what all the picks. All right. I'm going to take the Jets. No surprise there.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Jets as well.
John?
I'm going to take Giants.
I thought you might do that. All right.
Bengals. I am going to take. I can't imagine. God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to. Who is the 49ers backup quarterback? Sam Darnold?
Yep.
Gosh, this is a tough
Are you
one.
going to take the Bengals?
I am going to. I'm going to take the Bengals.
John?
Bengals. Frisco's losing their third in a row.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I got to agree.
Wow. All right, Raiders, Lions, John.
Raiders, Lions, John.
Lions.
8.
The Lions are better. They're at home. They should win this game. Well, I'm already down. I'm going to take the Raiders.
I'm going to go with the Raiders with an upset. I'm going Lions. I'm going Lions. That's my 3-point game.
All right, 3 points. What do you like for your 2?
Jets.
Jets is a 2.
And the Bengals are a 1.
Bengals a 1. I'm going to take the Jets as my 3.
Wow.
I'm going to take the Bengals as my 2, and the Raiders is going to be my 1. John?
Giants. Lions is my 3.
Lions is 3.
Lions is 3. Bengals is 2. Giants 1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we got some differentiation going on.
A little bit.
The numbers might make things a little interesting. See if I can get.
I got a long way to go.
Or 1 week.
Yeah, or one.
Or one good week.
We got a couple.
We could do the coin. We could do the coin off the air, can't we?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, because I use a random generator for that. So
yeah.
There you go. Got a couple comments on here for beaten by the coin.
There you go.
Dave Scardino's picking the Jets.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He's also picking the Bengals.
There you go. Look at that.
All right.
And he's also picking the Lions.
Yeah. So I mean,
okay,
this means we're all fucked.
And Jessica Barbera said, "Ha, the Giants." And
I assume that's directed at you.
I'm sure it is. And then she also said, "JETS, Jets."
Yeah, that's right. I knew there's a reason I like her.
Let's not get too excited there, Jess. This is like picking between syphilis and herpes. It's neither's good. It's just hey, let's see what we got this week.
This is true. This week. Anyway, all right, yeah, and then we'll do the coin off the air and post the.
So I just want to ask one question real quick. Doesn't have to be a long answer. Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be back for the Jets? And if yes, what week?
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say yes. And I think it's sooner than later. I think it's week 11 or 12.
So you think in the next 3 or 4 weeks he's back?
Yeah, that's what he's been saying.
Because we're heading into week 8. 8, 9, 10. So another 4 weeks or 5 weeks he's back.
12 or 13 then. I meant game 11 or 12. But yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So they played 6 games. I think by their 12th or 13th game, I think he will be playing for the Jets.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to wait and see. It would certainly look. He's certainly, proving himself to be, putting it mildly, way ahead above schedule, right? But if he comes back and plays in week 12 or week 13, he's a cyborg. What the hell is going on with this guy? Most people can't even walk,
darkness, man.
And he's
but
standing for a whole game in a sneaker.
They got all sorts of braces and stuff they strap on you now, so you got the metal joints and stuff.
Supposedly, he went into a dark cave with Mark McGuire.
It's some medicinal mushrooms. And
he's against vaccines.
He rubbed
the poison of the vaccine, keeping him healing normally.
Dave said, "I'm not sure, but he's going to try to get out. Oh, he's certainly going to try to get out there. That's for sure. Yeah. I know he wants to come back tomorrow. I'm sure, but
I think it's going to be. I think I think he's going to come back with at least 3 to 4 games left.
These are for you, Harry, for the syphilis comment there from Dave and Chess.
Which the question is who's syphilis and who's herpes.
Right, exactly.
Syphilis because it can go away for a long time, but then it can cause
right, exactly.
It's more like herpes, where it's just
it pops up when you least expect.
They pop up and score a touchdown when you least expect it. Yeah.
And Dave just said, "Go Knicks." The Knicks have moved ahead. It's 101-99 with 2 minutes and 3 seconds left in the fourth.
Is there anything, what makes me hate the Celtics more than ever is the fact that Porzingis now plays for the Celtics.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the Celtics have like 9 All-Stars on their team. How are they not winning? I don't understand.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see. Anyway, all right. I think it's time for that. What's that segment? The best
segment that we love.
The best ever. Apparently, the best ever. One of these. So let's start it off here again.
What is real?
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real.
For real, for real, for real. Yeah.
Are you for real? For real? For real? For real?
Are they for real?
What is real?
I played the wrong one.
That's okay.
So,
we don't need it. We don't need it.
Is it a different one?
It's a long one.
There's one with
the short one's way better.
Well, no, it just has the best.
No, that part's the same length, but there's a music bit after it. Anyway, are they for real? It's the NFL or an NFL edition, and a little bit of a name game here. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. This is basically who's more for real. So first up, who's more for real? Zach Wilson or Russell Wilson?
I'm going to say Zach Wilson.
I think they played exactly the same game in the last couple weeks. They're both serviceable. They're below the Kirk Cousins line. They're in the lower tier of Kirk Cousins. But they haven't. Neither of them have really made big mistakes, and they've come through when they needed to. So
I agree.
I'm going to say they're both playing where I think they both should be playing, and where their capabilities are right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Neither surprises me.
Neither one surprised. Yeah. Look, the Jets are surprising 3-3. Better defense than
they're
Denver.
They're not
Russell
winning
Wilson.
because of Zach Wilson. but they're not losing because of Zach Wilson.
Right. And Russell Wilson's numbers are pretty good,
right?
Actually.
Right.
I think he was the fifth-rated passer through the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. So.
He's come up okay. One of those interceptions was not an interception. He should have had another touchdown pass. So, yeah, the pass and he threw a couple really nice passes this last week, and he's not turning the ball over as much. So, they're very similar quarterbacks in what they're doing for their team. They're letting their defenses give them an opportunity to score strategically and win games. So yeah, I think they're both doing great.
Yeah, I think Zach edges him out just a little bit, and Dave says with Rodgers on the sideline, it's Zach.
Okay. Well, New York bias. There you go.
I think that's fair. All right. Next up, Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, or Josh Allen, edge rusher for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who's more for real? Let me read you their stats. All right, very quickly. Not that they can be compared, really, but Allen is throwing at a clip of 70.7% completions, 1,841 yards, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Josh Allen, 2 forced fumbles, for a return of 38 yards, no interceptions, 7 sacks, and looks like 23 and 16, 39, a bunch of more than 40 tackles between solo and combined and assists, and 6 tackles for loss and 14 QB hits. So who's more for real?
You know what? This season, I'm going to say Jacksonville's Josh Allen, because Josh Allen from the Bills is proven to be a little more mortal, not mortal, but a little more mortal than he's been the last few years. And those are some pretty good numbers for the Jacksonville Josh Allen. So I'm going with the defensive.
Yeah, not
Josh
bad.
Allen. There you go.
I think they're both for real. But look, Josh, the wins and losses for the Bills are up and down. It's not completely on Josh Allen. Josh Allen's almost 71% completion. He's 6th in the league in yards. He's got 15 touchdowns. He's been sacked a lot more than he usually has.
Yep.
I don't know. Quarterback stats are. You know who's 8th in the league in passing yards is Sam Howell. Okay, so ahead of Josh Allen is Goff, Stafford, and Cousins. So Josh Allen's
just an interesting list.
Yeah, Josh Allen's for real. And look, the other Josh Allen's having a good season. They're both for real. I'm not buying into this Josh Allen's done. This is what the Bills do. They need a few more parts and pieces there.
Yeah,
they'll be fine. They're still gonna be in the playoffs, and they're still gonna be a team that can win it or can go to the Super Bowl or could easily lose in the first round of the playoffs. You just don't know.
Yeah, the Bills have not given Josh Allen much help offensively.
No.
Offense depends on him,
right?
Whether it's passing or whether it's running is really not fair to him.
It's not fair to him, and hence my point. He's looked a little bit. I'm not saying it's his fault by any means. But he has looked a little bit more.
It's hard to carry all that weight on your shoulders and be good all the time.
Right.
There's probably two to three teams in the league, maybe 2, that I'll give it 3. Who if you said, hey, would you trade your quarterback for Josh Allen? The obvious answer is no for Kansas City. I think it's a head scratcher for Philly and the Dolphins. Any other team, with the exception of maybe the Bengals, who knows, I think is taking Josh Allen. So he's one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league, has been for a number of years now, will be for a number of years after this. Mm-hmm. So the Bills their Bills are a weird team.
They are. Okay. Next up, who's more for real? Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa? And again, I'll read you their stats.
All right.
Joey, 5 games, 1 as a starter, 3 sacks, 8 solo, 1 assist tackle, 3 tackles for losses, and 4 QB hits. Nick Bosa, 7 games, all as a starter, 2.5 sacks, 15 solo, 5 assists, and tackles, and 6 tackles for a loss, 17 QB hits. and they each have 1 pass defended.
Mm-hmm. You want to go first there, Harry? I went for it the other 2 times.
I don't fucking care. They're both good. I would love to see both.
So
of them
Harry's
play on the
answer.
Giants.
So Harry, yeah, right. So Harry's answer is both.
I think Joey Bosa. I mean, Nick Bosa is obviously, Joey Bosa is sort of in his shadow quite a bit.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa is more. Nick Bosa is always going to be for real because he's one of the top defensive players to ever play the game. Joey Bosa is for real though, and he has consistently been that way. Yeah. And maybe it's time that he, look, he could be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year this year. You never know. Although,
yeah, I mean, he's got 2 less games played.
Right.
And again, only once as a starter. Now, I don't have the number of snaps here, but he's got half a sack more. He's got 7 less solo tackles and 4 less assists and only 3 less tackles for a loss. So, right. Hasn't been out there quite as much, but I think their numbers are pretty comparable. Yeah. I mean, anybody would take either one of them, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have to agree with both of you on that. And this is one I'll say both. Nick Bosa is obviously getting more. Not that he's getting more.
He's been on the field more.
He's been on the field more. Yeah. So, I'm same as like Harry said with Josh Allen. I wouldn't quarterback Josh Allen. I wouldn't turn down either of them. Right. Yeah. I think maybe this year Joey's coming into his own a little bit more over his brother, but yeah, that could go either way this year, any year. But
so no clear winner there.
No clear winner.
Yeah, but I'll take either of them as a starting quarterback for the Giants.
I also put Kim Ng on that list.
Who's more real, Joey Bosa or Kim Ng?
No, Kim
Ng. Without a doubt. Yeah.
All right, last one here. Who's more for real, Garrett Wilson or Myles Garrett?
All right.
Who's more for real? Wait, Myles Garrett's having a hell of a year.
I'll give you the numbers here again. They're not Garrett Wilson, 32 receptions, 369 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16 first downs. And Myles Garrett, let's see. 6 games, 1 pass defended, 3 forced fumbles, 7.5 sacks, 16 solo, and 6 assists for 22 combination tackles and 6 tackles for a loss, 16 quarterback hits. Mm-hmm. That's pretty damn impressive. Myles Garrett, maybe the best defensive player in the league right now.
I'm going to go with Mrs. Garrett only because she had to deal with 2D for all those years. So my answer is Mrs. Garrett.
Mrs. Garrett is the most for real amongst those Garretts.
I'm actually going to go. With Garrett Morris, right here, Chico Escuela, right there. Go with Garrett Morris. There you go.
All right.
I'll tell you what. Myles Garrett is more for real, and look, Garrett Wilson's having a great year, but Myles Garrett, man, when you watch him play, he just much like these other guys that we've been mentioning, he dictates the game a lot. And Cleveland without him, that defense is
completely different team. Yeah, and Garrett Wilson, if Aaron Rodgers hadn't gotten hurt, if he was playing the whole season and he was playing what everybody expected, the way everybody would expect him to play. And no knock on Zach Wilson by any means, but if that were the case, then yeah, Garrett Wilson would be, it would be a little easier to have him in the talk back and forth with him. But it's Garrett, it's Myles Garrett. It's definitely Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think if Aaron Rodgers was playing,
it'd be a different story. Maybe
hopefully Garrett Wilson would be having a monster season, being the number 1 and all that. But he's doing well.
He is, and he comes up big in clutch scenarios, which is what
he does. He does. Listen, he is the real deal. There's no question about that. He's got good speed. He runs good routes. He's got great hands.
And he's great. He's a great sideline receiver. You know, he's not running a 9. He's not running an 8-yard pattern on a 3rd and 9. He knows where the sticks are, and he knows how to get that first down.
Yeah. But I think Myles Garrett is more of a game changer.
Yeah. I think he's back to where he was 2 or 3 years ago, where he was obviously, I think, the best defensive player in the NFL. And he may very well be that right now.
Pretty damn good. So.
All right.
All right.
So that's it. That's the name game NFL version of Are They For Real?
There you go. Awesome.
Maybe
I
not the
love it.
best ever. I thought it was pretty good, though. It's
It was
hard to
pretty.
compare.
It was pretty damn good. It was pretty damn good. I give you an
Hard
A
to
plus
compare
for
to
that
Virginia
one.
Beach.
You're for real, Pete. That's all I know. And hopefully the ending of the show is for real.
Hopefully.
Yep. And the ending of the show is coming up right now. Unless we have anything else you want to talk
Actually,
about.
I want to throw one more quick thing at you.
Throw it out there.
I want to sing the praises of Travis Dermott, who plays defense for the Arizona Coyotes. And remember at our last show, I was talking about the vampire commissioner. That was Adam Silver. I got him confused with Gary Bettman of the NHL.
Oh, right.
Bettman is the cowardly lion. Adam Silver is Dracula.
Gotcha.
Not to mix shows up. Yeah.
I looked at
That'd be great. The Wizard of Dracula.
The Wizard of Dracula.
So Travis McDermott plays defense for the Coyotes.
Not a bad idea.
And
we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful wizard.
When the cowardly lion Bettman had controversy and decided to bow to some Russian Orthodox players who are homophobes and hide behind a religion, and put a ban on Pride nights and wearing the Pride jerseys for 10 minutes and all this, instead of just saying, okay, either don't come out for warm-ups or you don't wear the jerseys and come out for warm-ups and we're still going to do it. He put a ban on everything. So no more nights supporting LGBTQ or apparently anything for that matter.
Right.
And he put a ban on anything rainbow having to do with the NFL, whose slogan is hockey. It's for everyone. Kudos to Travis McDermott, who apparently, as soon as that ban went into place, called up the company that makes rainbow tape that they put on their sticks and ordered a bunch of it and put it on his stick, I don't know, a few nights ago or a week ago or whatever it was, and was there for everyone to see. And, of course, the cowardly lion, Gary Bettman, has now basically said, okay, well, you can put the tape on your stick now, and has caved because he's the cowardly lion.
You know,
So,
if you want a rainbow stick, you should be able to have a rainbow stick.
Yeah.
And we'll leave that right there.
Yeah. So good for Travis Dermott. Good for Travis Dermott and for standing up to idiocy and causing the cowardly lion to back down.
Hashtag Dracula, hashtag rainbow sticks, hashtag cowardly lion.
They're off to see the wizard.
By the way, this is the Gay Pride Parade in New York or the Halloween Parade. Depending on, they're basically the same thing now.
It's
and also the
6-1.
NHL. Was it last night? I think they had every team was playing, right?
Yeah.
All 32 teams are playing, and they staggered the start times for some reason. I guess they thought that would be kind of cool or something. But
it's almost like the NBA tonight.
It's pretty much
right.
Yeah.
But why would you do that when you're going up against a Game 7
and the first games of the NBA,
night of the NBA? And tonight, I think there's no baseball scheduled and there's NBA scheduled. But like, what is? Don't people pay attention?
No, they do.
Let's have every team play. And
it's the NHL. The NHL is the Susan Lucci of major sports.
Unbelievable. Yeah, let's put it up against Game 7 of the League Championship Series and opening night of the NBA. Brilliant.
And in case you were paying attention to us and not paying attention to the Knicks game, the Knicks lost to the Celtics 108-104.
And Kristaps Porzingis scored 30 points. Was plus 13, shooting 8 for 15 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3-point land. Yeah.
And Phil Jackson's not even there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well,
and there you have it. All right.
By the way, the Boston Celtics are starting 3 point guards, a center in Porzingis, which can have a question mark next to it, and Jason Tatum as a small forward. So they have 3 point guards, a center, and a small forward, and they're starting lineup.
So they're, I don't know, what are they? The Phoenix Sunsing it?
The Phoenix Suns never had a point guard. Well, in the years past, yes, they did. Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you would call that. Yeah. It's Yeah, it's more like the Knicks in the 90s, only their point guards didn't shoot. They just had fouls.
Right.
Charlie Ward and Chris Childs in the
They
backcourt.
just got fouls and
That's right.
passed the ball to Ewing.
Yeah.
Charlie Ward, best quarterback in New York at
That's
the time.
right. Yeah. Well, they had Derek Harper for a little while there, but that didn't last very long.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, the Knicks looked like I thought the Knicks would look. You know, we'll see. Hey, look, shut us off and go watch the first game of Wemby. Watch as he takes on Luka.
There you go.
Over
Right.
on Wemby. How many blocks will he have tonight? Over 5 or under 5?
Over 5.
I'm going over 2.
Over 5. Okay.
Oh, hey, speaking of over-under World Series games, 10 million viewers.
What's the norm? I don't know. I'm so out of touch.
I don't know. It's more than 10 million, though.
More than 10 million, the norm?
Yeah, we're expecting to have it. Everyone's expecting a down year.
I'll go under.
It's going to be under. It's going to be under. It's got to be.
I'm
It's
gonna
got
say,
to be under.
all right, I'll go over.
Just
Now let me tell you
I think the
something.
novelty of Arizona will maybe catch them.
Unless Taylor Swift shows up at one of the games, it's going to be under.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if Travis goes,
There you go. You never know.
then she might go.
They might show up, and then
That's
you'll
true.
see. You know what you need to do is have.
Are the Chiefs playing the Cowboys and or the Cardinals anytime soon?
No.
Then Travis
Probably
Kelce's probably not going.
Although he showed up on Saturday Night Live for
Yeah, it's because they were
they were in New York.
New York.
Yeah,
All right. Well, we'll see when the series is over. We'll revisit that.
that's right.
All right. Cool. All right.
I'm sure all of us will remember.
I wrote it down.
Oh, okay. Me too.
There you go.
You wrote it down, but you never go back to any of this stuff.
Sometimes we do.
It's on a sticky note which gets thrown away like 4 days from now.
That's right.
No, actually, I transfer it to the paper. That always pops back up. So anyway,
By the way, Wemby already has 1 block, and there's 8 minutes and 6 seconds left in the first quarter.
there you go.
I heard someone say he's
Definitely
going to be Defensive Player of the Year this year.
the decade of all time.
Defensive Player of the Decade this year.
Hey, he's 7'9" with a wingspan of 16 feet. He just has to. He's like those blow up things outside the car dealerships. He just goes like this. You're bound to.
He can sit on a bench and just knock it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he's. I think he's AI. But anyway,
may very well be. Anyway,
all right. On that
note, we'll wrap the show for today. I want to thank everyone for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, which is now X, and Twitch every Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, usually if there aren't any technical issues with Facebook. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our brand new host, Spreaker, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. Pretty much anywhere you can get an audio podcast, you can find.
Just where you find your podcast.
Where you find your podcast. I like saying all of it. It's fun.
Goo Beaker and Stitcher. What is it?
Exactly. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Watch the World Series starting up. Watch football this weekend. Week 8 coming up. And we'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Look at the little Tula. She's talking to the producer. Talking to a cat. And a woman in a jumpsuit throws her a grapefruit. By George, she is